Beat the Streets. I always plug them. We're a resource center for young adults in Antioch, California. I've been in the accounting profession for over 35 years, a mentor and coach for over 15 years, and I'm also a licensed life and health agent. So a little bit about TLJ Professional Services, where we are about all things financial. We offer services in tax preparation, bookkeeping and accounting, business services, life and health insurance, retirement planning. I'm an author and coach, and I am BB accredited A+. Now, let's get into the nitty gritty. So 5 things to know as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, when starting a business or in business. So know your vision, mission, and purpose. Set goals. Be clear of your business offerings. Invest in yourself in your business. And a business coach can help you in your journey. Okay, so these are the 5 things to know. Let's deep dive into each one of these. So what is your business, right? What is your vision? What is the business that you want to have or create, or maybe have created, and why that business? So your vision tells your story. It's your purpose, right? It's your why. So all 3 of these go together: vision, mission, purpose. With vision is, where do you see your business? Always start with not where I am right now, but where am I trying to go, right? Where am I trying to get to? Because that's what matters, okay? It's not where you are right now, because you're planning for your future or the future of your business, right? And therefore, you need to have the vision of what you envision for that business, but then also why that business. So not only do you use that in your storytelling, it's in your brand, right? Because it tells your ideal customer why you chose them to market to provide services for, right? So what is your vision? What is your outcome? What is it that you want your business to be or provide, right? What's your mission? The mission is, what is the driving force behind your business? This is also part of your story. What is that gut-wrenching why, right? The infamous why. Why are you in this particular business? Is it your passion? Is it something you thought about growing up as a kid, right? When I was a little girl, I wanted to be X, Y, Z, right? What is your mission? And what is it that you're trying to accomplish with your business, okay? And then, of course, purpose. What is your business solving a need of? You have to be very clear about that, because once you know that, then you also can find out who is your ideal customer. They call them avatars, right? Who is your ideal avatar? Who are you marketing to? Who is your product or service best suited for, okay? So when you are either starting a business, have started a business, or in business, this is something you need to be very, very clear on. Vision, mission, and purpose, because it not only tells your story, it also identifies your market, your ideal avatar, or your client base, right? And what are they going to get out of it? And what are you going to get out of it, right? You're in business to make money. You're in business to leave a legacy, to build success, right? Successfest. So you want to make sure that you know these things, not only for when you're storytelling, but when you're marketing also. And then just for your own path, okay? So that's part of the 5 things you need to know is set goals, okay? So with setting goals, there's 3 main components: making them actionable chunks, writing them down, and put dates to them. So actionable chunks. Every stage of your business requires action. So if you break them up as goals, they're achievable. So one thing that I always mentor about is when you're setting a goal, if you don't write them down, how do you know how far you've come? Like, I've had a client actually close a business because they really didn't know. They thought they hadn't made any progress. not knowing that they had already come so far, right? It's the same as getting a license to be like a real estate agent, or myself, a licensed life insurance agent. Why would I let my license go, right? So set actionable chunks because it will allow you to actually see how far you've come and how far you have to go. Okay. And then remember, on the very first page, I talked about vision. Your vision is where these goals are getting to, right? It's the long haul. Where are you trying to get to? So in every stage of your business, whether it's starting up, there's things to do, right? There's action required. Once you're in business, in order to scale or bring on a team, is another required action. An exit plan, if you have one, right? Your exit plan could be, I'm leaving my business to my grandchildren or to my children to make it a family legacy, right? Have actionable chunks and set a goal. Because one thing I've learned personally is you could talk about something all day long, and that's all it is conversation. It's just talk. If you set a goal and even write them down, now it's a plan, okay? It's actually something that's being implemented. Otherwise, you're just talking. Otherwise, it's just a thought, okay? Until you actually put some action behind those words or thoughts, you don't have a business, okay? You don't have a plan. You don't have a goal, okay? So let's be clear on that. Set goals. Now, write them down. Why is that important? When you write down your goals, it allows you to not only know how far you've come, but how far you have to go, but also it lets you see when times come where you have to pivot, right? Like COVID, we had to pivot. All businesses had to pivot. All employees had to pivot, right? It allows you to see what you've already done to actually plan for these bumps in the road, because COVID was a bump in the road. And in business, you're going to have bumps in the road. You're going to have those highs and lows. But when you have a goal, it'll not only keep you on your journey and on your path, it will also help you celebrate your wins, right? You have to celebrate your wins. So when you do, when you write it down as what I need to do first, second, third, then you can start checking them off, okay? Check those off, because that's something when you're looking at a plan, when you see you've accomplished all these check marks, right? That's motivation to keep going, right? It's motivation to say, I'm almost done. You know, it's like getting a degree, right? When you first start school, you know, you got a 2-year goal or a 2-year journey to get your AA or your BA or your master's, depending on where you are, right? You know, when you first start, you got a long road ahead, but each course that you take and you get to check those off, you're that much closer to your goal of a degree, right? So it's all the same concept for success, okay? So write them down. What is required in each stage, right? So that you know when you've accomplished it, so that you know when you can check those off, right? Okay, and put dates to them. Now, track each action as a project. So in each little chunk that you create, it should have its own project plan, in essence. This is what I need to do in this piece, in this first piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, right? It depends on what it is you're trying to do. Check those off within that stage, right? Before you move on to the next stage. Now, right, putting dates to them and creating deadlines. Life happens. Don't get discouraged, right? You adjust your dates to account for it, because one thing about it is, just like life can throw a curveball, sometimes those curveballs can be in your favor, right? So even though you may have missed that June 30th deadline, set a new one for July 15th and keep your July 30th that you had, if you have monthly goals, right? So you just move that one goal. You don't change your whole plan unless you have to, okay? So each goal, you consider it its own individual hub. And then if you have to change the date or pivot or anything like that, it doesn't change the rest of your goal or outcome, right? Your plan. It only changes that one particular chunk. That's number one. And let's say it's one of those things that, yes, it can snowball. It's not the end of the world. Okay. Stay on your path, stay on your journey. Okay. Now, what is your business offering? What is your business industry? How are the items sold, right? Who are your competitors? What is the story behind your product? And what is unique? Those are for product-based businesses. Now, what is your business industry? Why is that important? Not only do you need to know what's going on in your industry to stay abreast of what's changing in your industry and to benchmark your progress and your success in your goals and plans, those actionable chunks I just talked about, right? By benchmarking against other businesses in your industry and stand abreast of industry changes, that keeps you in the know, not only to allow you to be able to pivot and adjust your plan where necessary, but it also allows you to be an industry expert, okay? So one thing that I do or give as an example. So because I am in the accounting industry, I'm not a CPA yet, but clients come and say, well, I want a CPA. But when you ask them why, they're not even sure, right? They just know that a CPA has this high standard, or, is an accredited position, which it is. No, can't take any accolades from that, right? The point of the matter is this. A CPA that just got their license yesterday, right? Fresh out of college, only been in the industry for a year or two, does not hold more weight than somebody that's been in the industry 10, 15, 20 years. The title, the license, because that's what it is, a CPA license, it doesn't minimize that, but I will tell you, based on experience, like the tax industry, because I'm a tax preparer, tax laws change every year. If a new tax preparer come into the industry, unless they've been doing taxes all these other years, like when Trump changed the tax laws, they wouldn't know how to do an older return. So I get a lot of clients that haven't filed their taxes in years. They would not be able to assist that client if they don't have those prior year knowledge, because Trump changed the entire tax codes, right? So that's a perfect example of being an industry expert, right? And knowing your industry and keeping abreast of the changes in it. Continuing education is required, all of that stuff, because things happen, right? It's pivoting. It's an era of technology right now, right? You have to keep up with the technology of your industry as well. So how are your items sold? Bundle, individual, right? And who are your competitors? I don't look at my competitors as competition. I look at them as another learning tool. What can I learn from somebody that's doing the same thing I am in my industry? I'm not competing with you. I'm partnering with you. I'm collaborating with you, and I'm trying to learn from you. I'm not in competition with you. We're going to win together, okay? So look at your competitors, as the way to learn, to stay abreast of your industry changes and so forth, because your competition or competitor may learn about something before you do, may hear about something before you do, right? So you can learn from them and also collaborate. What is the story behind your product? You have to have a story. Why did you create that product? Because everybody else is doing it. Is that your story? That's not your story, okay? That's not your journey. Not if you put plans and actionable chunks and have a full goal, mission, vision, and purpose for your business. You didn't do it because Jane did it or Joe did it, right? You have your story. You chose that product for a reason. Know what that story is. And then what's unique about your product, okay? Now, services, sorry. What services are you offering? What is your business industry? What need are you solving? So service-based businesses, they look for you to solve a problem. They look for you to solve something that they can't do themselves. But what makes you different from others? That's something that is almost like an interview question, right? Is asked all the time. What makes you different from everybody else? So for us, we treat all of our clients as family, literally. We have a genuine care and concern about the success of your business. So we are wholeheartedly wanting you to win because your win is our win, right? So that's what makes us different. You're not cattle. You're not just a number. You're not, just a dollar sign, not for our business, okay? And who is your ideal customer? You have to know who you're talking to. You have to know who not to talk to. So that was a lesson I had to learn in business, that not all businesses are for me, okay? And I can accept that. And that was a hard lesson learned, but guess what? I learned that lesson. So you need to know that as well. Now, invest in your business and yourself. You must continue to learn and expand your knowledge. You being here part of Success Fest, you're already doing that. You invested in yourself and you're investing in your knowledge, because all of the various speakers and workshops that you attend, all of this great information that you're going to gain, you're going to expand your knowledge attending Success Fest, right? So you're investing in yourself, not just yourself, because what you pour into you pours out into your business, okay? So it's important to be knowledgeable of your craft, again, so that you can be seen as an industry expert. Now, invest in your business. What changes can happen in your industry? Again, COVID, the pandemic brought out a whole lot of everything. A lot of businesses had to either close or pivot, right? So one of our clients, their restaurant, because people couldn't go out, they closed one of their locations, but they, the other location is like, we have to do something. Well, I have another restaurant client that I'm like, okay, well, they started doing delivery, not pickup, but delivery. Because remember, DoorDash and all of those stuff was still delivering. There was more. And so restaurants moved to delivery or pickup, which pickup kind of came later in the pandemic. But that was information I was able to share with him, and therefore he was able to pivot in COVID. So you have to be aware of what's changing in your industry, because you never know what's happening. And that's another part of collaborating instead of being in competition, right? Focus on what you're good at and outsource the rest, right? Or hire for someone to do the rest. We all are good or maybe good, but you do yourself a disservice trying to do everything by yourself. And as long as you hold tight to everything, there's no room to expand. Because how do you expand you, right? You can expand your knowledge, but time is time. You can't expand your time. So focus on what you're good at. Be your industry expert. You can't be an industry expert in marketing, accounting, taxes, right? Administrative services, social media posts, right? So hire or outsource what is not your forte, okay? That's the biggest investment you can have, is to let somebody else that went to school for it, right? To have the continuing education, that's the industry expert, to do their craft so that you can focus on your craft, okay? Marketing, branding, social proof are required to scale. So there's no way, unless your business plan is to stay small, which what is your overall goal, right? Are you looking to leave a legacy for your family? Otherwise, you want to scale. What's the point of starting a business if you're not in it to expand and make more money and more money and more money, right? So marketing, branding, you have to brand yourself because people want to know who you are, right? And that's why I did the All Things Financial. That's my signature move, and that's part of our brand that we are trademarking, okay? So social proof, people want to know because you don't know me from West, right? But hearing me talk, right? Attending some of my sessions, things like that will show you, and reviews, right? People commenting on posts, things like that are the social proof that would make you want to come and do business with me, right? That's part of being an industry expert, okay? So, because your name will get around, your name will expand the more service, the better service you provide, knowing your customer, investing in yourself, investing in your business, right? Following your industry changes, people are going to come to you for answers. Okay. So this is part of that: invest in your business, be good at what you're good at, and let somebody else be good at what they're good at. Okay. Now, a business coach. Find a business mentor or coach you can relate to and speak to candidly. Okay. And you can have more than one coach. So, like, I have a marketing coach, I have a accountability coach, I have groups that hold me also accountable, and get mentorship from. I have a personal coach, right? You can never have too many coaches, but you have, whatever coaches you choose to work with, you have to be able to speak freely, because otherwise you won't get the full value of what they have to offer. But then that also turns around to you to say, you have to keep an open mind on what they're saying, because guess what? Why recreate the wheel when you could be mentored in your journey, right? They've been there, done that, right? You can learn from their knowledge, their experience. So there's a saying in one of the groups I'm in that everything you need is in this group. And that's because they have an array of people in the group, right? Whether you need an attorney, they're in the group. So if you have questions about different things in your business, it's not that you have to now become the industry expert for that piece of knowledge that you need, right? You can pose your question that you need. Or if you have a coach in that area, right? A financial coach, a business coach, a personal coach, then they can help you decipher through some of the things. If you get stuck in your business, if you're trying to scale and not sure what next steps to take. So working with somebody that has the knowledge and experience that you don't have, all they can do is feed into you, right? So that's part of the investing in yourself, right? You have to invest in yourself, because there's no way for you to know everything, but you can learn from other people. So again, that's what goes back to the competition as well. You learn from, they're not necessarily your coach, they're your collaborators, right? But a business coach will keep you accountable as well. That's what you're paying them for, to keep you on task, keep you motivated, to keep you financially straight in your business. So that's why you need multiple coaches as well, okay? Not only will they give you fresh ideas or a different perspective, they would, if you can speak candidly, they're going to tell you, that don't look quite right. Or, if you have an honest coach, which you want to be, that's that candidly I'm talking about. They should be able to talk to you about anything, and you should be able to talk to them about anything, right? Because you want your business to be the best it can be. And you can't do that if you're holding on to a question that you are afraid to ask, or take the constructive feedback as criticism, things like that. So make sure when you choose coaches that you're choosing coaches that they're going to become like family for you, okay? Because they will be open and honest with you about their fresh ideas, because there's no two people alike, right? Even twins are different. They have different gifts, right? So you want to take in what you want. This is my thing. Take in what you want, throw the rest of it away. I know you've been hearing that forever. I have too, but I live by that, because I'm learning every single day. Everything doesn't apply to me. So therefore, I pick and choose what I can use in my business. So a perfect example is, not only do I attend like workshops and learning sessions on my industry, I attend workshops and other speaking engagements and stuff like that on topics that has nothing to do with me, my career, or my business. But what I can learn from that is their technique, their approach, what software they may have used, right? What did they, the format that they use. So it's so many different things that I can learn by attending someone else's workshop or someone else's collaborating with, right? speaking engagements, because you always can get fresh perspectives, fresh ideas from someone else, right? Everything doesn't apply to me. So I take that piece that I could use and put it back into my business, okay? And then speak your truths. This is your journey. I can't express that enough. This is your journey. So all of these things that I've already gone over, the 5 tips, right? You have to set goals. You have to know your vision, mission, and purpose. Be clear of your business offerings. Invest in yourself and your business, right? And then a business coach can help you. All of these things will help you be successful in your journey, right? Even in this topic, in this workshop, you're going to take in what you want and throw the rest of it away. I don't know what you're going to throw away, but just open and honestly, right? I'm speaking my truths, right? As a coach, as a financial coach, as a business coach, as a mindset coach, all of this, as well as an accountant, I can speak my truths. Do I know everything? Nope. But I'm continuously learning. I'm continuously investing in me and my knowledge because I do want to stay an industry expert. Okay. Now, I have a free gift for you. If you go to bit.ly/4 things to expect, right? That's another piece of I have 4 things that I discuss or will share with you at the download. It is a PDF to give you 4 things to expect in your business. Because as a new entrepreneur thinking about starting a business, or even if you're in business and you're looking to scale to the next level, there's things that you need to expect in this journey. Because again, this is your journey. So thank you very much for spending your time with me, your afternoon with me. I am honored to have been able to present this for you. Again, take advantage of your free gift. And it's been my pleasure. I am Tracy L. Tate. I am the CEO of TLJ Professional Services, where we are about all things financial. And I am honored to be an executive producer for Success Fest 21. Be blessed.
Organization, they say that there are 3 billion employed people in the globe, over the globe, in the world. Of those 3 billion, that's right with a B, say 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 billion. They say out of those 3 billion, 81% of those 3 billion were affected or live in a country that was affected by the pandemic. Listen, if you weren't affected by the pandemic, God bless you. But for the rest of us, this was a tragedy because some of us, the pivot was a thing that you're like, oh, not the pivot, not the pivot. I know you're saying, what is the pivot? The pivot wasn't just a pivot, a slight turn. It was I'm talking turn all the way around. And for some of us, we're still turned around because we haven't figured out how to lead post, during, but in this case, post-pandemic. If you live in any of the countries, and I do, live in the countries that where they were affected, they said that we were affected in such a major way, not just people that are employed by companies. We're talking about entrepreneurs, people like us. Now, I say us, but listen, as George Fraser say, I have earned income from another source. Jobs too. Some of you work for people. Some of you have employees. And remember this, some of you have launched, or some of your employees have launched during this pandemic. So let's talk about the fact that some of those same people that you now have to figure out how to lead them differently because you can't do what you've been doing. Because if you keep doing what you've been doing, you'll keep getting what you're getting. You can't get the same thing, not post-pandemic. Let me give you an example. See, Stephanie Wall, had her job. Everything was good. Career, at work. One day come March, I want to say March, mid-March, they were like, listen, everybody go home early today. We're going to check back in with you about some things that we're talking about up in the other rooms. Now I've been in meeting after meeting after meeting. I've been going on all these conversations about the health, about the health and with the health department and with this and that. So I knew it was kind of coming. The next email I got was, listen, all of you, we want you to stay home today. Don't come in the office tomorrow. Don't come in the office next week. And I don't know if any of you experienced this, but I went from hustle and bustle. You know, you at work and you got the grind. You at the grind. You're going. You got everybody coming at you. You got meetings. You got this. You got that. And then one day, boom, there's nothing. Not only was there nothing, there's no airplanes flying in the sky. Now, for me, that was significant because, see, where I live, there's airplanes flying all the time. So we can hear airplanes flying. So all of a sudden, it's silent. There's no cars moving. We don't know what's going on. We don't know if we have a job. For me, that was an interesting point because, you see, like many of you, imagine this. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sitting in my office and I look to my left, and I look to my right. I'm looking at my home office and I see that there's a goal poster. There's a poster there with all of these things that I was going to do because I was going to launch a career. And you know what happens when you're sitting somewhere, you launch. You know, you play. Some of y'all were like you're dibbling, you're dabbling, you're playing. But see, you know what happened? I launched and I kept launching. And some of you have launched. And some of you are employers. And guess what? Your employees have launched careers. So not only are you competing with other companies, but you're now competing with the employee who has now launched their own business. You know that great Les Brown says that many of us are not living our dreams because we're living our fears. Well, it's interesting that during this pandemic, many people began to live their dreams in the middle of living something that was fearful, something they were afraid of. I'm always talking about, and I've heard it, and you've heard it 1,000 times before, 1,000 different ways. In the middle of all of this, what happened for a lot of people that were able to pivot, if you will, during the pandemic, was that we changed our minds. We changed an action, which in turn changed our circumstances. So that's how some people stay. They list the companies. I don't know about your area, but where I live, I watched some of the Lord and Taylors, some of the big department stores, some of the smaller businesses. They didn't survive, not because they weren't great. They didn't survive some of the smaller ones. Some of the larger ones, it's just business the way you do business. But some of the smaller companies, they went out of business. Some of the smaller storefront, some of the smaller mom and pop stores, they didn't survive the pandemic. Now, we're not all the way out of the woods, but we on the way to post. I call it on the way to post-pandemic because we're still wearing masks here in Maryland. But let me tell you this. If you are someone that's like we had a cookie store, my favorite cookie restaurant in our mall. It didn't survive. It didn't survive for a couple of reasons. The owners just could not wrap their heads around going online. They couldn't wrap their heads around delivery. They couldn't wrap their heads around doing business differently. I'm here to tell you that if you are a business owner, you are a manager, you're a leader, you're a CEO, CFO, all them O's, you to see anybody, you in the C-suite, and you're thinking, okay, what am I going to do? What I'm going to do? I'm telling you, you have to do something differently. I'm telling you that if you're going to go back to the office, if you haven't already figured it out, some of you you were ahead of the game because you had already had folks that were working from home. This whole shift was just, the only thing different was more people were doing it. But for some of you, this was new. And for some of you, you have people that are home working virtually, teleworking, that had never done it before. But guess what? They're doing it well. What am I saying? I'm telling you that if you plan to go back and do the same things you've always done, you're going to lose some employees. How many of you have already started the movement? How many of you have already decided that it's time for you to go back to the office? Come September, everybody has been talking about being back in the office. Well, imagine this. You're a mother, you're a dad, you're a parent, you're a human that has children. You have now chosen to homeschool your kids because for whatever reason, it's not safe. Your child can't wear a mask. They're still wearing masks in school. Or you have just decided you're going to homeschool because that has been working for your child. You are an introvert. You've been working 100% more, you've been 100% more effective at home than at work. But your employer says, time to come back in. I want everybody back in the office. I want everybody back in the office by July 30th. July 30th, everybody's going to be back in the office. And if you are that employer, tell everybody to be back in by July 30th. I'm here to tell you, I think you need to do an assessment. This is what I'm going to ask everyone to do. If you're asking your employees to come back, I encourage you to do a poll. Get with your team. If you're in the C-suite, the first thing you must do is a poll. You must do a poll to see where everybody is in the thick of things, because remember, your attitude about all of this is going to determine your altitude. What do I mean? Some companies will continue to thrive. Some companies will fail. If you have to take the attitude, you have to change the way, it's a mindset, you're gonna have to change more. And I need you to go and stand in the middle of the room and say to yourself, okay, what can we do differently? I need you to do everything different. From right now, the people that are coming back into the building are not the same people that went out of the building. Yes, you have people that want to come back. Yes, you have people that want to lead. They want to get back with their teams. But it starts with you. You have to change your attitude about what is your expectations. How are you going to lead? The communication, lack of leadership, and failure to be able to change. As a matter of fact, what is it? I think they said only like 7 or 10% of entrepreneurs even are still in business after the first 5 years for the same reason, but you must include failure to budget or manage their money well. What are you going to do as an organization? What are you going to do as a leader to not only, once you work on your attitude, and when I say work on your attitude, I'm not talking about I am talking about your personality, because you are the beginning, you're the end. You are the person that leads the group. And I'm going to give you this example. I have a great boss, right? I have a great boss on my earned income job. And what makes him great is because he's the top one. I'm in the top of the whole area. And when he comes in your space, it's not, I'm the boss. It's just like, let's get, I recognize your skills and abilities. You were chosen for this particular function because it is your strength. How does he know that? Because prior to being hired, part of the process was an assessment. Why am I talking about assessments? Are you working to make sure those people that work for you are working in positions and in spots that are their strengths? Now, I'm not saying you don't and help to build up and develop your people. Because I heard a talk once that talked about a CFO that said, what if we develop our people? The CFO was talking to a CEO. What if we develop our people and they leave us? And the CEO said, what if we don't develop them and they stay? Put that in your pipe and soak smoke on it for a little bit. Let me tell you, as a leader, It's not only your job to lead, it's your job to be the example. And the example is somebody that they're striving to be. Leaders create more leaders. You know that I like now. That's my degrees is in management. So I have this thing about leaders versus managers, right? You know, they say leaders lead people, managers manage things. Well, technically, we do have to manage our emotions. We have to manage our anger. We have to manage things. We have to manage people. Because when I say manage, I mean help them to be the best version of who they are, not the best version of who they are just so they can keep the peace in the office. I'm talking about continuity. I'm talking about growing in realm what they're doing so that the company can grow, the organization can grow. But think about teams. How many of you are over Zooms and over company meetings? If I see another person get up and they'll have pants on or something. But here's the deal. That's the reality. It's not going away. So how are you going to adjust? How are you going to say, we're not doing that anymore? Everybody's coming in. So my leaders, post-pandemic, you're going to, the call to action, as I like to call it, the call to action is, I need you to make the pivot. Before you ask the company or anybody else to do anything else, I need you to reevaluate where you are. And where you were at the beginning may not have been where you wanted to be in the first place. Gallup polls, stress finders, business assessments of individuals. There's a plethora of them. I'm just naming a few. But do assessments. Do polls. Reorganize. Reassess. You're going to have to look at your space that the people are in. But when you're leading during this time, those are all logistical things. But I want to talk to you about leading. When you are leading anyone, they want you to lead. I have to tell you that many moons ago, I was a correctional officer. I worked in a prison, a male prison for a maximum to medium security. And the one thing that I was real clear on, despite what the world says, what people says, that the people in there needed me to do my job. They needed me to come in and make sure that not only, the world, yes, according to the description, the corrections keeps people that are incarcerated behind bars and safe from the community, blah, blah, blah. But as a correctional officer, your job is also to keep the people within inside of the walls safe, to keep order, to limit harm. And all it requires you to do is do your job. So that meant that those people, because I quickly went up through the ranks there, those people needed me to lead. Just like parents, if you're a parent, raise your hand, say I. And I say, look, as Tony Robbins says, I, right? As a parent, your kids need you to parent. As a leader, those that you are responsible for need you to lead. And when we come back after this pandemic, there's going to be an expectation that you are prepared for it. And how does that prepare? You may need to shift some things, and starting with your mindset. If you believed up until now, okay, people just come in, they have their office, they work 9 to 5, they work 8 to 4, and if they can't do that, then they just leave this job and that's it. I need you, if there's any HR professionals viewing, I need you to write on there, they don't know. Because if I know as HR professionals, the hiring process is significant. If we lost all of the people, if just in my organization alone, And I'm not even talking about the people in the C-suite. I'm talking about the people that do all the real work. The people that couldn't afford, some of them could not afford to take off or even telework. Some of them were able to do a little bit, but they only got to telework because they really shut down. So they weren't even teleworking. I'm sorry, I take that back. They lost income. Did you stay connected to the furloughed people, leaders? Did you reach out to them? And if you haven't, cool beans, we can't go back. Yesterday's gone. Today is all we have. Then start today. Have you reached out to those people that you're going to be calling back on? You may have to rehire some folks. In this time of leading, I need you to have compassion. I need you to think, put yourself in their shoes. And I'm not just talking about your parents. I'm talking about everyone. There's some people that for health reasons, they are afraid. They are afraid to come back. I'm talking about even when everybody comes back in the room, you're now doing business with companies. And those companies are doing business differently. You're now competing with other things. Remember that some things that we did in person, they realize we don't really need that anymore. How many of you have already been in a meeting and said, you know what, we don't really need to have a 2-hour meeting. We found out we can get things done in 20 minutes. So I need you as leaders to talk about that. Talk about streamlining. So look, write down. I need you to write down, leaders. I need you to write down my attitude. Just write down, attitude determines your altitude. Remember that. That's true for you, and that's true of your employees. I need you to write down that if you meet a need, and I'm not saying meet a need of your employee, meet a need of your client, meet a need of your parishioners, meet a need of your whomever you need, whoever is your avatar, we like to say, or whomever you serve, meet a need and you'll change the world. And I'm going to tell you the what ifs. And as a matter of fact, I don't even know her name, but there was a book a long time ago about what ifs. Love it. I still love it. Because it was just talking about the fact that if you just, one person in a room says, okay, I want to, I don't know, how about if we are the finance department, one person comes up with a way that you can a better way to do business. And instead of someone coming and saying, oh, we've always done it that way. We can never do that. Instead of that being allowed, everybody has to come up with a what if we could statement. It will change your business. So today, don't take it from old Stephanie. Well, don't take it from Speaker Stephanie. Don't take it from me. You can always check out what I do, because I'm going to tell you, I live what I do, and I live it. I'm a disruptor. I disrupt the negative and limited beliefs. You have to do that as well. Because as long as there's limited beliefs and nobody disrupts them and you keep operating in them, you will continue getting what you're getting. So I'm encouraging you today. Remember about those attitudes. Remember about changing lives, because you're dealing with people. But start with yourself first. My name is Stephanie Wall, and I thank you for your time and attention. You can find me everywhere as Speaker Stephanie. Thank you.
Have you ever hesitated? Have you ever made a big mistake that you didn't know how it would affect your life, your family,